What's going on, guys? We are live. Welcome. This is the Edge DFS. We're talking Showdown. Another Celtics Showdown show. This time against the Clippers. Friday night, late night hammer showdown. Ellie, what's going on, man? How are you?
I'm doing pretty good, bro. Just sweating the main slate. It's really weird having so much chalk on a 10-game slate. You know what I mean? Fucking, what is it? The Oklahoma City Thunder. Like, I'm pretty sure they barely had enough people to be eligible to play tonight.
Barely.
So, yeah, and it's stressful seeing some of your value guys sitting at 6 points or with that little fucking snowflake on there. But
I know, but they're so cheap. I mean, some of these guys like Baisley, I think, is at what nine fantasy points right now.
But what are you going to do? They're going to play for 72 minutes. You know what I mean? And they're winning. So, like, it's going to stay competitive. So, it's going to work itself out. But I'd be a fool, and I'd be lying if I didn't say it wasn't stressful.
Yeah, it is. My cash lineups and my single entry have 5 Oklahoma City players from there. I was like, fuck it, man. Why not? Like, they got 8 players. These dudes are all going to get 30 minutes, or most of them are. All right. So as you can see, we've got Boston versus the Clippers. We've got some injury news, obviously, to talk about. But for now, let's just get right into the bird's eye on this particular game. Paul George was announced out, and he was downgraded earlier in the day. So you could see that the writing on the wall there that he was going to miss this game. Ever since that happened, the odds came a little bit closer to Boston here. But Boston's dealing with their own injuries with Jaylen Brown. So it's a -6 spread at home for the Clippers. The Clippers are, they've won, I think, 8 out of their last 10 games. They're crushing. They're doing well quietly. So, -244 on the money line, 70% win probability. This is a 219.5 total, so pretty low considering. And I think Boston at, 106 implied total is one of the lowest on this slate. I think the second to lowest. Ownership is very equal because there is a lot of, minus the 2 expensive guys on each team or 1 on each team. There's plenty of value. There's plenty of options. So ownership is relatively equal here. Ellie, what jumps out to you here?
I'm actually surprised to see the ownership, most of all, kind of just split between the middle. But I guess it kind of makes sense. There's value on both sides of the ball. And I think you're going to have pretty balanced exposure tonight. I am a little surprised the Clippers are favored by this much. I guess that I would have expected the Paul George news to move the line a little bit closer. Boston isn't a bad team.
Half point, I think. A half point, and it was like a couple percentage points win probability, but not that much. I think because Boston has so many injuries to deal with.
Yeah, but I mean, no, I don't want to be blasphemous or anything, but outside of Kawhi Leonard and fucking Paul George, I don't know if the Clippers are really all that good. So they're dependent upon, their team kind of being whole. But we'll see what happens. I mean, I definitely think it's going to be an interesting matchup. I'm curious to see how. I expect Kawhi Leonard to have Jason Tatum all night, so that should be a fun matchup to watch.
Yeah.
And it could also be because Boston is in the East and. What you got, like 2 teams? Other than that, it's fucking garbage out there. So who knows? That could be why the line is where it's at.
Yeah. Reggie Jackson is an interesting play, obviously. There's a lot of good value out there. Reggie, we'll talk about him in depth in a minute, but it's a little deceiving if you look at his fantasy box scores in the past because all those games have been blowouts. So, with Pat Bev out, we've got more Reggie Jackson, which I've been excited to see because I like his upside. But he's been sitting on the bench at the end of these games, so it's a little deceiving. And I think that actually will lower his ownership if you just go back and look at some of his prior outputs. They haven't been super impressive. If this game can stay close, he should get over 30 minutes. He should be in the 32, 33-minute range, hopefully. And at his price tag, he's a good option. So let's actually move over to injuries right away.
Oh, I'm hurt. Oh, my neck, my back, my neck and my back. Oh.
So we got Jaylen Brown out, Marcus Smart out, Paul George out, Pat Bev out, some big names out here. So with Jaylen Brown out, Kemba and Tatum are obviously going to get some big boosts. We've got other guys in the starting lineup. Marcus Smart has been out for a minute, so not any new news there. But the interesting thing here is Kemba gets 1.53 fantasy points per minute and 44% usage with Jaylen Brown off the court. And I know that's probably a smaller sample size than we'd like, but those numbers don't lie. If he can get 30 minutes and this game stays close, Kemba is a great option. I know he hasn't gone over 30 minutes this season because of they're easing him back into the lineup. But what jumps out to you on the Celtics side, and then we'll cover the Clippers and how we react to this news.
Yeah, I mean, having Jaylen Brown and Marcus Smart's out is huge. Jaylen Brown is very much a high usage guy, and he's one of their primary scorers. I mean, that's really what he brings to this team. So I think Kemba automatically gets a boost, and obviously Jason Tatum gets a boost if any one of these people are out. So I think it makes it for an interesting slate. The other thing that is really important here is Marcus Smart being out on top of Jaylen Brown opens up so many weird options when it comes to the rotation. Yeah. And I know we like Javonte Green on the last slate, and we probably like him a little bit here tonight. But just with the late Paul George news, and I know that's what we're going to get to in a second, I don't know if that's necessary tonight. But again, it's something that we're going to have to strongly consider. This might be a night where you just kind of have to say, fuck the salaries, how much money you're leaving on the table, and just pick the best scorers and the highest, whatever you think is going to be the highest projected outcome. You're going to have to build that way tonight. I think you're going to have to throw out salary.
Yeah, I totally agree. So let's move over to the Paul George side of things here. Obviously, Reggie Jackson is going to get more opportunity now that Paul George is out. I think he's going to have his usage is going to go up. There's just not a lot of big scorers on this team besides Kawhi. So obviously the biggest boost here is Kawhi. I think you lock him into every single one of your lineups. And me personally, I'm going to put him at captain in. Actually, I have him in 60+% of my lineups at captain. I just feel comfortable with him. He's, it doesn't matter who he's playing. He most of the time is the best player on the court. When it comes to Tatum, the other option at captain, I think you have to focus on those two guys, and then maybe a little Kemba Walker at captain, but I just don't like Kemba's ceiling necessarily. With Tatum, he's a great player. He's a great player. Don't get me wrong, but I if you had to give me Kawhi or Tatum, I would pick Kawhi every day of the week. But I still have my Tatum exposure. So talk to me about Clippers with Paul George out, with Pat Bev out. Who gets the biggest boost here? Who do you like the most from the Clippers besides Kawhi?
Besides Kawhi? Well, look, I don't want to completely blow him off here. We do have to call out the amount of usage that is going to increase for Kawhi just because Paul George is off the court. Yeah. This is very similar to the AD, LeBron. One of them sits, you just fucking play him. So don't even think about it. Play him. If you lose because Kawhi sucked dick tonight, then, I mean, it's the safest bet, right? It's like doubling down on 11. It's like doubling down on 11, man. Just fucking do it, right? Mm-hmm. Now, Patrick Beverley, this is really interesting to me. And I really don't think the Clippers have been utilizing Reggie Jackson appropriately.
Me neither.
And he should have been in the starting lineup a long time ago. Honestly, I think he should be starting probably over Pat Bev. And I know Pat Bev brings the defensive edge, and he's got that tough side of him. But Reggie Jackson, he is a playmaker. He's going to score. And I love the guy. When he gets minutes, he's one of my favorite plays. He's always one of my favorite plays.
Yeah, me too.
I think this is a great opportunity for him. And just because of the recency bias here, I just don't know if people are going to be too high on Reggie Jackson.
I don't think they will.
And I mean, you got Luke Kennard starting at like 3,800, and then you have Nick Batum. Those are going to be the primary guys. I think people are going to forget about Reggie. So I love Reggie. Let's
get into the starters here. Do we have an official Celtics lineup yet? I know that we have word from the Clippers. Chat, hit us up if you see that. Let me actually refresh and see if we've got an official lineup.
Not yet.
Looks like we don't. But Kemba, Javonte Green, Jason Tatum, Daniel Tice, and Tristan Thompson. That's most likely going to be your starters. I mean, maybe there's a chance Javonte Green doesn't start. Maybe Semi or who the fuck that guy's name is. Maybe he comes in and starts. So we'll just keep our eye open. Either way, I don't love really anybody in that spot. I'd rather just focus on Kemba, Jason Tatum, Tice Thompson, maybe a little Robert Williams, Grant Williams, those kind of guys. But I'm focusing mostly on the Clippers because I think that their upside's a lot higher. When we go over to the Clippers side, Reggie Jackson has already been starting, right? So that's, to me, he gets a big boost just because of usage. There's one less guy that touches the ball.
Hold on, bro. I got to interrupt you. Kevin Durant's out the rest of the game for health and safety protocols.
I thought he was out at the beginning of the game.
No. He came back in. They ruled him in for contact tracing.
So what happened? Did they contact trace some more and they realized?
I don't know, bro. This shit's 13 minutes ago. Like, how the fuck is everybody else? Like, if you're contact tracing, you're not going to trace the contact that he just had on the fucking court. Like, I feel like everybody on that court needs to just leave. Like, what?
I legit, like, I only play like 5-man tournaments for main slate NBA now. I used to do tons of 20 maxes and things. It's just blowouts, randomly dudes getting. First of all, how do you announce 10 minutes after lock that a player is not potentially not starting?
Because of COVID.
Like, 10 minutes after lock, bro. That's not lock. Lock should be lock. Lock should be like the NFL, where it locks and I refresh and there's fucking points on the board.
No, bro. Dude, what the fuck are they doing? Like, you seriously have like 12 people you have 12 people on each team just sitting on the goddamn bench for 20 minutes after the game starts. Like, hey, can we play yet? Like, can we fucking play yet? Like, what are they doing? Like, I don't understand.
Like, what are they doing in the stadium? If it's lock, if it starts at 7 Pacific, fucking tip off at 7:01.
Bro, like
tired of this shit.
I'll give you a 5-minute window. I'll give you a 5 fucking minute window. But when I look at my phone and the game starts at 7 and 7:22 and LeBron's just like jogging out, like, dude, the Lakers are the worst with it too. You know what? Yeah. Never mind. Okay,
well, look, so one more point about this is FanDuel. They'll take advantage of that. They love that. They'll lock at 7, and at 7:15, 7:10. If it's not full, they'll extend to 7:10, 7:15, which is bullshit. But we don't have the choice to late swap, or we don't have the choice to change anything because they're flippy floppy.
No, they have late swap now.
What I'm trying to say is it locks at 7. But
I know they won't let you come off those guys.
If it doesn't fill, they'll push it. But then if there's a situation where Durant is ruled out, they won't help you out. You're just screwed. Another reason why I refuse to play FanDuel. All right.
So we're bitter today. I do want to call something out while we're on the starters, though. So I'll be kind of shocked if Javonte Green does make it into the starting lineup. I definitely expect Jeff Teague to be in there. And that's pretty much what it is. And look, just to be honest with you, I don't know what it is, but I have a feeling that Pritchard or Waters could see a little bit more time over Green. I think they like them a little bit more, but we'll see. I don't know. I don't know much about the Celtics, but
So Kennard is in the starting lineup. I don't necessarily love him. There's still enough options. I'd rather go Reggie Jackson. There's still enough options that I think Kennard's ownership is going to be higher because of the news that now he's in the starting lineup, but I don't think he benefits as much as Reggie Jackson does with PG-13 being out. So you got Kawhi, obviously, strong forward, Batum and Sergio Bacca. Then you got, Marcus Morris, Lou Williams, Zubac, those kind of guys coming off the bench. I'm not really interested in Zubac. I do have my fair share of Lou Williams because he's kind of running that high usage role in the second unit. But I don't mind Marcus Morris either. So off the bench here for the Clippers, who are you interested in getting to besides all of our starters?
For the Clippers, maybe a little bit of Marcus Morris. Other than that, I'm just really not that interested. I mean, the pricing and Paul George being out is kind of going to work out. So you can pretty much get starters. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean you want to go all starters because there are guys like fucking Royce to 5'9" who are there to fill a fifth man spot, and sometimes they'll end up crushing. Yeah. But otherwise, I'm really not that interested. I think the Morris twin is in the best spot just because PG-13's out.
All right, Ellie, let's talk quickly about Thrive Fantasy. We partnered with these guys, a great app. Ellie, tell us a little bit more about this. We're excited. The big game's coming up on Sunday. There's tons of awesome prop bets. Thrive's really pushing. They have some great tournaments. So, Ellie, tell us about it.
Yeah, man. With Thrive, you can eliminate the countless hours of research and focus only on the top tier athletes that have the biggest impact on the game. Choose 10 out of the 20 available player props to build your lineup. Each prop is assigned a fantasy value for both the over and the under based on how likely it is to hit, and then hit the most props and rack up the most points to win a share of the prize pool. Thrive has a free $1,000 contest and over $30,000 in guaranteed prizes for the big game. So come prop up on Thrive Fantasy for the big game. Use promo code EDGEDFS when you sign up today, and you'll receive an instant match up to $50 in your first deposit. Download Thrive Fantasy on the app or Play Store, or visiting their website, thrivefantasy.com. Sign up and prop up today. And actually did have another little note on that. It looks like they're doing a special promo. They've added another promotion, right?
Yeah, they did. It looks like obviously there's the deposit match up to $50. With a $25 minimum deposit, you'll receive a free entry into our 30K guaranteed contest. New users only. And the $50 must be used to enter the 30K contest. So they're offering up some free, a free entry for you if you enter the contest. There might be some overlay there, guys, for this game on Sunday. So please check that out. It's really interesting. We did a whole NFL show last night, and we had a little segment talking about some prop bets. So be sure to check that out on our YouTube channel. Hit us up on Twitter. And sign up with Thrive. It's a great app. We're loving it. All right, so let's get into the breakdown, bro. Break it down. All right. So let's pull up the Excel sheet. A lot of good options here. All right. So obviously Jason Tatum at 10.6K. I'm going to have him in almost every lineup. There's no reason not to. Projected for 37 minutes. Antoine saying Pritchard is a value play. Yeah, we'll get to him in a second. We'll talk about him in 1 minute. Kawhi Leonard at 10.2K. I mean, the fact that he's $400 cheaper than Tatum with PG-13 out is just another reason to put him at captain. Yeah. I don't think you have to overthink these two guys. There's so much value here. If you're in a huge tournament and you wanted to get fancy and maybe fade Tatum, I think you can do that. I'm not doing that. I have both of these guys, whether they're a captain or in the flex in every single lineup. Just don't overthink it. This is the NBA. This most likely dudes with 35 plus minutes and a 35% usage or 30% usage. They're gonna be the highest scoring guys on the slate. Now the interesting thing here is that Kemba Walker at 8K. So like we said in the intro, obviously with Brown out, I got a Celtics will start Walker, Tatum, Grant Williams, Tyson Thompson. So Javonte Green. So no good.
That changes things. I don't know if he's no good. He's obviously going to end up getting some run because they don't really have a choice. But Robert Williams is interesting.
I have 23% Robert Williams, thankfully, and I only have 3% Javonte Green. So, so I'm set up well for that, thankfully. All right, so obviously with Kemba, being eased back into the starting role into the season, he hasn't gone over 30 minutes this season so far. And the last game he had 30, but he had the other night off against Sacramento. So I don't out of pure necessity. What are the chances that Kemba gets 32, 33 minutes tonight?
Yeah, I mean, look, dude, I'm going to be honest with you. If he gets 28 minutes, I'm still looking at him as pretty much a stone cold lock. Just the raw points that you're guaranteed from the starting point guard at 28 minutes is enough for me, given the fact that we probably don't have any more floors on this slate, right? So if he does end up getting 32, 33 minutes, I think that just gives him a lot more value at captain. I mean, you have the salary to put Tatum and Kawhi Leonard at captain. So I don't think people are going to be as crazy as they normally would. So I think Kemba Walker makes for a very interesting captain night if you think he's getting 32, 33 minutes, which is very possible.
Yeah. And like we said in the intro, 1.53 fantasy points per minute with Jaylen Brown off the court and 44% usage. So I have, full disclosure, I've got Kemba Walker in every single lineup, whether it be in the flex or at captain, mostly at flex. I don't love his ceiling, especially if he's not going to get over those 30 minutes. I'd rather go with Tatum or Leonard at captain. So look, the next guy on this list is Sergio Bacca at 6,800, 25 minutes, 1.08 fantasy points per minute. I think he's a solid play. I think he's one of these guys that you just kind of forget about every once in a while. You got Nicholas Batum, who can get hot. He can get hot from downtown. His usage is at 12.5. Nothing to write home about there. But everybody on the Clippers gets a boost with PG-13 out. Everybody. After the update, I noticed that everyone got 3 or 4, sometimes 5 fantasy point boost. So everyone's going to need to step up, and that includes Ibaka, Batum, and especially Reggie Jackson at 5,600. I think at 5,600, he might be slightly forgotten about, but, let's take a look at one really important thing with Reggie, right? And he's projected for 28 minutes. I think he's going to get you 32 as long as this isn't a blowout. So standard deviation, highest around, more variance, and look at that ceiling, 53.
Yeah.
That's one of the highest on the slate. That's higher than Kemba. So that's what jumped out to me. I really love Reggie Jackson. I've got him in a ton of lineups. I'm assuming his ownership is probably, what do you think, 30%-ish? I've got him, I think, in 60. So that's the guy I'm doubling down on, literally. So thoughts on, and then obviously Daniel Tice. I don't think he has a very high ceiling, but he's one of these flex guys you can throw in. So thoughts on Ibaka, Batum, Reggie Jackson, favorite out of those guys, and a little Daniel Tice action.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think Ibaka is just a clear nod normally because he's the number one in that offense. He's generally getting the starts. Reggie and Batum, I think that's something more of late. But I don't know, man. I love Reggie Jackson at this spot. He's going to be point guard. He's going to have a lot of that usage that goes through PG-13 is going to be going through him and Kawhi now. So it's really hard not to love him at that price. And then I think, honestly, if I were to rank him, I know I said Serge 1, but it's Reggie first, and then it's probably Nick Batum. I love Nick Batum tonight too, man. I think you can play him in both lineups. I don't think many people are going to do that. I think people are going to dip down to Kennard and then just tap in the most expensive players after that. So I think Nick Batum is in a great spot to smash. I mean, I don't know, dude. So Boston's playing like what, 3 fucking centers in their starting lineup. That's a mismatch on the perimeter for guys who can shoot. Nick Batum is definitely a shooter. So I definitely think this is a night that you can kind of get creative on some small ball with Boston. So I'm gonna have a lot of Reggie Jackson, a lot of Nick Batum.
Goon Squad, what's up? Antoine saying 4-2 Celtics. I don't hate it. I'd rather go the other way around, especially if the ownership is close. I'd rather go 4-2 Clippers. That's just me. So let's talk about Kennard a little bit, right? So Kennard's at 3,800. His fantasy points per minute is at 0.7. He's usually getting around 22 minutes a game, so he's only getting like a 5-minute boost potentially. His usage isn't there. I think he's probably pretty shot dependent. So I don't know, man. I don't love Kennard, Celtics starting Grant, not Robert. Robert is the C.
Bro, how do you have 2 Williams on the same fucking team? You got a 13-man roster, and you got 2 goddamn. No, you're right. You're right.
E. Williams. Did I say the other Williams?
I think I did, actually.
It doesn't matter. Fuck it. Whatever. Williams. I don't really love him either of those guys. So fuck it.
I mean, I'm still gonna play them over a guy like Javonte Green though, just because they are starting.
Yeah, agreed. So look, Kennard. Can we safely say that? Look, I think Kennard's gonna be slightly higher owned because of the news now that he's in starting lineup, and I don't think his ceiling is there, and he doesn't have a floor really at all either. He is going to get a little bit of boost in ownership, but at 3,800, I do think he's a viable play. I don't hate Luke Kennard. He does have the ability to get hot shooting. And again, this is I don't know if Boston has quite enough
people on the perimeter to continue to keep them from shooting threes. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen in this game with Paul George being out. And we know that he's a volume shooter and he likes to shoot the three. So I expect them to kind of spread that same offensive mentality through some of these guys who usually don't get these kind of opportunities. So I definitely think Luke Kennard's in play. I'm going to have a decent amount of him in my lineups just because, I mean, he's still a more reliable value play than, say, Javonte Green. From a floor perspective. I expect Luke Kennard to still have more points than Javonte Green gets if they just hit their minimum minutes. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. So Robert Williams at center, projected around 16. And then now look, obviously we haven't, since this update, I haven't updated the minutes or anything like that. Grant Williams starting, you know, maybe he'll get more than 20 minutes. It's just hard to tell at this point. So what are your favorites? Antoine was saying Pritchard was his favorite value play. What are your thoughts on Pritchard? Who's your favorite value play? And do we need to go down to any of these $1,000 guys and get really heavy on them besides a couple of punts? Because I think we just have enough. We have enough value out there. We don't need to touch them.
I think there's enough value out there that you don't need to get crazy with it. I'm not sure that a guy like Grant Williams is necessarily going to be in the optimal, but that doesn't mean that I'm not going to play him. I will have a lineup with him simply because $1,000 starting 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I played guys for a lot less than that. And
yeah, exactly.
I mean, I don't know what the ceiling is for a guy like Sergio Bacca. Those are the guys that you're going to end up paying for, right? Because every single lineup is going to be able to afford Tatum, Kawhi, and Kemba. It doesn't matter which one you have at captain. You're going to be able to afford that. So you're either spending down at one of these mid-tier guys like Batum, Reggie, or really Batum or Reggie. But I'm playing both of those guys. So I kind of do want to spend down somewhere else. I don't mind a guy like Grant Williams. Other than that, I think I'm going as low as Robert Williams and then kind of letting it ride from there.
So Sai is throwing out Kawhi at captain, which I totally agree with. Throw out Tatum, Kemba, along with Ibaka, Batum, and Grant Williams. Love it. I personally am not getting a lot of Grant Williams. I'd rather go with Reggie and pay, middle of the road guys. Goon Squad saying Kemba goes nuts. I actually totally agree with you. That's why I've got him in 100% of my lineups. Yep. If he doesn't go nuts, then I'm, close the laptop and move on to tomorrow.
He's going to be like 75% owned. There's no reason that he should be anything less than 60 to 65% owned.
He's 8K, and if he's less than 70% owned, there's something wrong with the people.
Yeah, this isn't a salary issue at all. So like, I play him.
Literally, you can play whoever you want today. Literally. All right. Anything else to add here before we move on to our fades? Actually, we didn't do a fade. We're going to move on to our captains. So anything else to add here?
No, we're good, man.
All right. Let's see here. Sai, him resting the last game. Celtics being on the road past week. Tatum rest a little bit more. Yeah, exactly. That's one thing we brought up at the beginning is Kemba had a little break. So I expect him to come out and play more than 30 minutes. And especially with Smart, especially with Jaylen Brown out, I think you got to unleash the beast here and let him fucking play, or you guys are going to get your ass kicked, basically, if you're the Celtics. You don't have a choice. You got to unleash him. All right. So let's move over to our favorite captain play here. Actually, you know what? We're gonna do our captain crunch here real quick. So this is going to give us a good idea as to who are the best captain options. So let's share that screen. Captain Crunch coming up. So as you can see, Jason Tatum, Kawhi Leonard are by far your best options when it comes to ceiling, floor, when it comes to projected minutes in the flex. And then you've got Kemba Walker hovering around the same. One thing that jumps out to me is Reggie Jackson, his ceiling. That's the kind of guy that if you took a flyer and played him in the captain in a few lineups, you're probably, if he goes off, you can be unique enough because everyone's going to play the same three guys at captain tonight, I think. So what jumps out to you here?
I mean, pretty much the same stuff that you said. I mean, nothing spectacular other than the Reggie Jackson at the top ceiling there. But I think you might be able to get close to that uniqueness just by having a decent amount of exposure to him. I think you kind of just got to go with it's not even Jason Tatum, it's Kawhi Leonard. Like if he's 40% owned at the captain spot, like I'm not even going to be upset. I'm just going to see if I can get creative somewhere else. The amount of usage that's going to be going through him, it's unreal. So I really don't know how to come off that at captain. Jason Tatum's interesting, but again, that I'm only really paying for that guy if PG-13 is playing. But other than that, I think Kemba is probably my favorite for like tournaments. Just because you don't have to pay for him. You really don't have to pay down at the spot to get to him. And I'm with pretty much everyone watching. He's gonna crush, and I'm okay if he doesn't crush losing a couple lineups because I had him at captain. If he does crush, there's a good chance we could see like 35 real life points, 8 or 9 assists, and he could play 34, 35 minutes if this game is close throughout the whole game. So I just think that's a great GPP play, and the range of outcomes is so broad that people aren't going to really necessarily rely on him as a captain. So I think it's going to be unique enough so you don't quite have to dip down to guys like Batum or Reggie Jackson.
We got to remember Kemba when he was on the Hornets, man. This guy was one of the best in the league. This dude was crushing every fucking night. I know he hasn't been on point lately. It's injuries or whatever it is. Maybe the Celtics don't want to roll him in.
Like, is that a fair discussion? Like when you're going from the fucking Hornets to a team with Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum.
It's like Beal. He reminds me of Beal in the case that Beal can go off for 45 points and they can get their ass kicked by 20.
Well, Beal is better.
Okay. Yes, I agree. Yes, but I'm just trying to say a similar circumstance back in 2019 before the pandemic hit, when we were doing, we were playing a lot of tournaments. Those are the guys that you were looking at. And Kemba Walker is a similar kind of guy on a shitty team. Now that he's on a better team, he doesn't need to take on all those shots. So that's why his production's lower, but he can still get there. He can still hit that ceiling. All right, let's move over to our captain choice here.
Now, if you want to crown them, then crown their ass.
Big surprise. Kawhi obviously is my highest exposed. I've got plenty of Tatum, and I've got a little bit of Kemba at captain, but I've got 100% Kemba in the flex. So really, I mean, look, Kawhi, it's like you said, it's like when AD is out, you just play LeBron, right? I mean, we can't get too fancy here, right?
Yeah, I'm not going to say anything else other than there is nobody else on this team that is remotely as good as him. The fall off is so ridiculous that all of the usage, all of the fantasy production is going to start around this guy. Yeah, and I don't think I'm shocking anybody with that analysis.
The only way, in my opinion, that Kawhi is not one of the top two scorers is if this is a blowout. And this is 2021. I think the chances of blowouts are higher than actual close games, which is really bad for the future of basketball. I think it just has to do with, obviously, COVID. I'm not going to say that every single game from here on out is going to be a blowout. But this year, it's been pretty bad and it has almost unwatchable. So as long as these games can remain close, specifically this one, Kawhi should be the highest scoring player on the slate. I think that's pretty obvious. All right. Ellie, anything else to add? Or do you want to move to a lineup build?
Yeah, let's build a lineup, dude.
All right. Let's switch to your screen. So let's just find the opto right now. Did you refresh recently with the Grant Williams news?
I'm refreshing again just to be safe.
I bet you he'll be in the opto.
Yeah. No, well, I don't know if Jesus Christ, I fucking hate this keyboard. All right, so let's go ahead and see what we get. It's Robert Williams.
That's strange.
No, because he's the one starting, dude. Oh wait, no, you're right.
Oh, Grant Williams is starting.
Starting.
That's fucked up. How do you the general manager needs to be fired for that? I don't care how good these players are.
General manager needs to be fired. Fucking Kyrie go. You took Kemba over Kyrie. I mean, come on, man. All right.
Kemba, normal human. So wait, redo that again. Let me just look at that one more time. So Robert Williams, Reggie Jackson is making the opto. That's good. Sergio Bacca's in the opto. Okay. All right, let's give it off a little bit.
Hold on. I need to submit this real quick.
Okay. Yeah.
Kawhi Williams. The problem is so I have a cash lineup that wasn't this safe.
Yeah. What does my cash lineup look like, actually? It's good. Or my single entry. My single entry is Kawhi, Lou, Batum, Reggie, Kemba, and Jason Tatum. So,
Lou was an interesting guy that we haven't talked about. I think, he's been having a fucking shitty year, and he's one of those guys that I don't mind. Like, I'll keep playing just a little bit. I don't mind losing a little bit of money to Lou Williams because he can come out and just put out like Jordan Clarkson type numbers. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he can get hot. I think tonight, generally speaking, is probably going to be like a 2v2 in any cash lineup or any single entry. It's going to come down to two players outperforming, like low-owned guys. Because I think we can all agree that Kawhi, Tatum, and Walker are going to be in almost every lineup.
So we want Reggie. I think
we want Reggie. Yeah.
Captain. We got 52.50 per player. I mean, look. Let's be weird here a little bit. Let's throw in Marcus Morris, and what does 6,100 give us?
Zubac, nope. So go down to Batum.
I mean, look, you're at a 4-2 clip stack. I don't hate this.
I like it.
I don't hate it, man.
We're capturing most of the usage from Boston just with Tatum and Walker. Now, can one of these other random dudes go off? Absolutely. But I feel like the usage is spread out a little bit more besides Kawhi without PG-13. So that's why I personally want to go 4-2s with the Clippers.
So let's look at Boston value. Holy shit. I didn't realize Peyton Pritchard was 4K.
And that's why I'm not too high on him, especially if he's going to get under 20 minutes.
I mean, I guess we go to Javante. No, I don't want Javante Green. If we're going to play a $1,000 guy, we're going to go with the guy starting.
Yeah, Tristan Thompson, Antoine, is an option for sure. What's he projected? Around 20, 22 minutes?
Yeah, 20 probably. Yeah, 22 minutes.
I mean, that's the kind of guy that can get you 10 rebounds and a double-double pretty easily. But I think he's going to be slightly forgotten about, at least for me. Let me see what I got him at. Yeah, I've only got one lineup with him, which kind of scares me, but if Tristan Thompson beats me tonight, I'll take it.
Well, remember, Tristan Thompson's similar to like a Derrick Rose type guy, right? He gets his minutes, he gets his consistent minutes, but he doesn't really go over that cap unless there's a severe reason for him to do it. And the position that they're short in is not power forward or center, so I don't really expect him to get any boost. So Trist is probably if you're doing a 20 max, he's a 5 to 15% exposure kind of guy, in my opinion.
So Antoine's, pretty high on Pritchard, and I'm not disagreeing with you. I just, I'm paying more attention to the projections, unless it's a one Toscano Anderson thing the other night, which Ellie, by the way, hell of a fucking call there. You called it, dude. You're like, dude, who the hell else is going to play?
Bro, I mean, and he was in the optimal the next night too, right?
Yeah,
and that was because Pascal was out, and that was the main slate optimal.
Fucking Pascal, don't ever bring that name up to me again. Don't ever do that again.
So here's a very interesting lineup with Peyton Pritchard that I don't hate. You got Kemba, Tatum, Pritchard, Reggie, Kawhi, Batum.
I like it.
See, you want to go up 7,600? What does that give us? I mean, shit, dude. You want to get a little bit safer. Right there, you get Sergio Bacca. This is not a terrible lineup, right? For if you want to play Peyton Pritchard, he's probably going to be 15% owned. So this is a probably really, really low duplicated lineup to play Pritchard in, and it's got a decent floor. Ibaka should get 30 points. Kawhi is probably 45, 50. And Kemba, we're expecting a ceiling game. I like this lineup, actually.
Let's do a Tatum captain. See what the opto captain or roster construction is with him. Sorry, I can speak English, I swear.
All right, opto with Tatum, Lou Will, Nick Batum, Reggie, Kemba, Kawhi.
We got 5 minutes to lock, guys. Let us know if you want to see any weird captain builds or any weird roster constructions. 5 minutes. in realistically like an hour till the game starts. But 5 minutes to lock.
Bro, we have not gotten Kennard in a single fucking build.
That's what I'm trying to say. I don't think he's popping, and I don't think that he's going to be. Now that I think about it, I thought he was going to be higher owned, but I just don't think he will.
Yeah,
I don't like Kennard, dude. I just don't.
I do.
I like him. Yeah, look, I've got him in 25% of my lineups. So if he's coming in at 35% owned, I'm under, but I still covered myself well enough to where I'm not going to be scared if he starts draining threes.
Now, I will say one thing. Like, I don't want to get too overexposed, but I don't know if I want Luke, Batum, and Reggie in the same lineup.
Yeah.
So let's come off of Batum and see what we can get to. Frozen fucking computer. All right, there we go.
So, guys, real quick, we've got a couple minutes to lock. Check out the Edge DFS Twitter. We're giving away a Devin Booker Cool Cats. We're going to gift that tomorrow night live on the NBA Showdown show. So all you have to do is follow the instructions. Just retweet, follow us, follow the YouTube channel. Pretty simple. We're going to randomly generate and spin the wheel live tomorrow at 6:15 Eastern. We're going to go live, and then we'll give it away 6:15 Pacific. And we'll give it away probably at the end of the show. So if you guys want a Cool Cat NBA Top Shot moment gifted to you, you could flip it for $350, $400 maybe, but at the time that you get it. So check us out, follow us, go to our Twitter account. Yeah. All right. So what do you got here, dude?
Tatum, Kennard, Daniel Tice, Reggie Jackson, Kemba, and Kawhi. I like this lineup, man. I think Daniel Tice is one of those guys who's going to kind of fall under the radar. You're going to have enough salary to probably pay up for Serge. So I don't know. I think he's definitely a viable guy if you want to get deep into GPP. Now, because this particular, with Jason Tatum at captain, I think that this particular Daniel Tice is kind of going to be necessary. So I think you can get a little bit different with Luke Kennard. Given what we've seen so far, it doesn't look like the optimizers are spitting him out. So
yeah, you're right.
I think Luke Kennard is actually a viable GPP option here.
Now that we're seeing actual building, I think you're right. I think he's going to go under owned now.
So who else you want to build with captain?
Let's try some random shit.
Let's do Reggie Jackson.
Yeah, let's do a little Reggie. So Batum and Bacca. I actually don't mind pairing those two guys together. I actually kind of like it a lot.
I mean, if I was going to do a Reggie Jackson captain, this is exactly the lineup that I'd have.
And that particular build, like if Reggie Jackson's 2% owned in the captain, like
that'll be the 2% of it.
Yeah, 1.5% will be this lineup. So if you just hit it off of a Bacca, I like Batum tonight a little bit more because I think they're going to need some shooting, and Batum's going to be that guy hanging out in the corner. If you could 3-3 this, yeah. Little Daniel Tice, get you a guaranteed 20 fantasy points. I don't
look. So if you're max entering, make sure you have a little bit of Zubac. He's probably going to get 3 fouls in 28 seconds, but there are also nights on Showdown where he's going to get 7 rebounds in like 14 seconds. I don't know, man. That wasn't as funny. He reminds me a little bit of JaVale McGee. Like, for the most part, he's going to fuck your life up. And then if you're not paying attention to him, he's going to have a decent night. So if you're max entering, I don't hate doing something like this. But again, I just think there's so many periphery players that, Boston's shorthanded on, that you're going to have more opportunities from guys who could shoot beyond, 12 feet.
All right, Ellie, you can back out of this. Yeah, I totally agree with you, man. Rushi is saying, I feel like first place is going to be a bunch of ties because it's so easy to get Kawhi, Tatum, and captain. Absolutely, I totally agree. This is why doing weird shit like, putting, roster construction-wise, you can mix it up quite a bit. Reggie, yeah, I think that Reggie, I don't think Reggie's going to be the best captain. I mean, maybe. He's a great flex play.
The law of averages tends to work out when you're playing these larger field GPPs for Showdown, right? You see the top projected person at captain because they're the top projected person for a reason, right? It's really hard to get different at captain in these deep GPPs. So going down to Reggie Jackson may not necessarily be necessary.
I don't think it is. You know, this is not the NFL where you need to play a tight end, every once in a while at captain, and you could still get that upside. I just don't know that unless Reggie Jackson scores 30 real life points, I don't know that he'll be the guy. I'm in 43rd out of 4,000 in this $5 single entry. So if Harden can stop sucking ass and Kenrich Williams and Basley, or is it Baisley or Basley, whatever, if they can stop sucking ass, I think I'll be okay. It worries about the late night hammer though. Like last night, I was profiting, and then LeBron went ham in the fourth, and I ended up losing money. So
he finished like 61. Dude, I fucked up my CSVs. I'm gonna be real transparent here. So I did 100 entries last night. I did 520 max, and somehow I fucked up my copy and paste, and I pasted the same lineup 40 times.
You trained it.
Bro, I'm so fucking pissed. I'm so pissed because those were the 40 lineups I hand selected while I was building out of the optimizer.
Oh, Rushi. Okay, Basley needs. Is it Baisley or Basley? I'm sorry, guys.
Blazely. It's Blazely. It's Blazely. Fucking Blazely. Fuck everything else. That's what we call him.
3 points for a double. Please.
Kawhi is 97%.
Okay.
We got a 40% captain. Isn't that what I said? I'm pretty sure I said that.
40%? Oh, Jesus.
97% Tatum. Bro, Tatum's 33% captain.
What about Kemba?
85%. 11% captain.
That's your guy, dude. That's your guy.
Kennard is 20%.
If Kemba can just have like an above average game, you might be able to do really well with him at captain because you're going to be unique as fuck. You don't need him to be the highest scoring player in the slate. He has to have a really good game, but he doesn't need to be the highest scoring guy, I don't think. What else jumps out to you? What other ownership wise?
I got to go to my other lineups, man. I'm looking at main slate like too, like it's hard juggling some of the shit. Like fuck these guys, dude. I'm right there.
Jackson is 41% and 2% in the captain. Batum 41. Look, Lou Williams is 22%. That might be the guy that sort of separates you.
All right, I'm Tremont Waters. Is he active? Like, did I fuck up here?
I have some. Do I have some Tremont Waters? Where's he at? I don't have any of him.
Well, hopefully he plays. I put him in as a dart throw.
Is this your Juan Toscano Anderson play?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, Juan Toscano Anderson was 1%. Tremont Waters is 1.5%. But look, dude, I was right as fuck on JTA.
Man. You were, and you know.
That doesn't take a genius to figure out. There's literally nobody to play the fucking position.
It was similar to what Antoine was saying about Pritchard. You know, it doesn't matter what the fucking projections are saying. If you have an inside track on how basketball is played, because a lot of these nerds, they just crunch numbers and just fucking play based on the projections. So if you have a little insight based on basketball, it's probably going to help you out.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So Ellie, does this hit the over here? The total was, what was it?
I don't know.
219.5. This can hit the over, right?
I mean, PG is he's one of the best defenders in the league.
I mean, look, Boston is 17th in pace. The Clippers are 29th in pace. Both teams are very efficient on the offensive end and very efficient on the defensive end. So this might be just a slow pace back and forth game. I think it. I hope it's over.
3. There you go, guys.
Is he hit a 3?
Yeah, actually, he has 5 points, and we got a couple Kenrich Williams assists there.
Yes. All right. I'm live. I'm live to ship this single entry. So let's see what happens. I'm in 57th place right now.
Bro, if this Thunder Timberwolves game goes to like quadruple overtime, like this is the garbage fucking bowl of the NBA, right?
Yeah.
Let's go to 13 fucking overtime and let's see what happens.
I got Harden at 7%, but he's only got 44 fantasy points with a minute left. I need him to hit like 17 threes.
Well, then, dude, bro, the fucking Nets. I mean, they need to hit one. They can go to OT too. All right, yeah. We need to wrap this up so we can.
Hit us up on Twitter, guys. That Devin Booker giveaway. even if you don't give a shit about NBA Top Shot, you could fucking flip that card. Just hit us up on Twitter. We really appreciate it. Also, check out our Super Bowl breakdown. We did 2 videos. The most recent being yesterday with some of the newest news that's out with injuries, and we did all of our captain picks and all that. We're going to go live on Sunday morning talking about the Super Bowl, as well as check us out tomorrow night. We're doing what game is that tomorrow night? The Late Night Hammer at 7 p.m. Pacific, whatever it is, we'll figure it out. We're going live for that
game that we'll break down for you.
Exactly. We're going live for that. We're giving away that Booker moment. Anyways, guys, we appreciate it. Throw us a like on the way out. It helps us out a lot. Thank you so much. See you guys later.